The Madlanga Commission of Inquiry sitting at the Brigitte Mabandla Justice College in Pretoria has just adjourned for tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Of course, Lieutenant General Dumisani Mbotho was on the hot seat today, as you've seen there. He's serving as Divisional Commissioner of National Priority Offences, Operations at the Hawks, or the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, that is the DPCI. Now, the Commission today, of course, continued to hear various witnesses involved in the investigating of the businessman and murder accused Katisoketi Molefe, of course, and their role during that takedown operation at Molefe's house on the 6th of December 2024. In the main, the Commission continued to uncover troubling evidence, as you would have heard there, the questions from the commissioners, of alleged interference, internal rivalries, it would seem, and operational challenges within South Africa's top law enforcement bodies, particularly, especially in this case, namely the Hawks, the DPCI, as well as the political killings task team. Lieutenant General, just briefly, Mbotho, his evidence was expected to clarify the Hawks' official rationale for their intervention during the Molefe arrest and to respond to the growing claims of interference and pressure. But let's now bring in Canny Maphanga, senior SABC News reporter who's been following those developments for us in Pretoria. Canny, a very good afternoon to you. So, essentially, Canny, Lieutenant General Mbotho's evidence was, in the main, as I said there early on, expected to clarify the Hawks' official rationale for their intervention during Molefe's arrest and to respond to the growing claims, really, of institutional interference. As you wrap up the day's proceedings, perhaps just also give us a sense of what he had to say today.
Indeed. Good afternoon to you, Inati, and to the viewers at home. We see that the Commission is trying to really get a sense as to this allegation that has been brought in that the Hawks allegedly descended onto that property of Katiso Molefe in December of 2024 for the purposes of alleged interference. That is the Operation Takedown that we've already heard about, the dramatic arrest of Katiso Molefe, which we already heard from the detectives on the ground, garnered much interest, not only within the internal SABs, because we're hearing that other units showed up, particularly the Hawks, but of course the aftermath of that particular arrest and the kind of senior officials that allegedly interfered and the other experiences that accompanied the arrest of Katiso Molefe. Essentially, what you saw today was to get an understanding from the Hawks officials involved regarding what their presence, very long presence that we're seeing at the Katiso Molefe residence, that is an hour, was all about. But it seems that as these various Hawks officials, particularly the higher ranking Hawks officials that are intimately involved in this issue, try to distance themselves from any wrongdoing or perceived wrongdoing, because it's now public, Unati, that the house was the house of Katiso Molefe, someone who is alleged to be a cartel member, and then of course someone who's facing very serious murder charges. So now, as they continue to try and distance themselves from this particular operation and distance themselves from any untoward behavior or conduct on their part, it seems that they're now beginning to entangle themselves in more, evidence that raises questions for the Commission's bench, because there's no clarity coming from any of these individuals as they contradict one another on various aspects of the event of that particular day as to what the possible true motive could have been behind them descending on that property, asking for information that went far beyond the scope of a verification request, then of course staying there longer than an hour. What you saw now was the Lieutenant General Mbotho, that is the one of the high-ranking officials that would have given the instruction or the request to Brigadier Mokoena, who then would have relayed it to Captain Kruger, and then Captain Kruger would have been the one who executed it at the residence of Katiso KT Molefe. Now, we already heard evidence that these particular Hawks officials knew prior to descending on that particular property that they knew that this was a legitimate operation that was taking place, but they still proceeded there. We're now hearing information from Warrant Officer Nkosi that this was an unnecessary, operation or request according to his vantage point as a Hawks Toms member, and that they had much more important business to carry out in that afternoon, which was an operation in the Northwest. He also alleges that an individual, or it's a member of the public, approached him and he identified himself as Mthethwa, and he came to him asking him, or rather informing him, that he was the one who called Patrick. Patrick in this instance would be the Lieutenant General Mbotho that just got off the stand, and we're hearing Mbotho denying knowing this particular individual. Now, it's clear that that denial will take place because this particular individual by Mthethwa, we're also hearing from Kosi that he alleged that Mthethwa told him that he was a relative of Katiso KT Molefe. Of course, if Mbotho agrees that they are longtime friends, as Mthethwa alleged to Nkosi, then of course it places the high-ranking SABC official in direct proximity with this alleged criminal cartel member, which speaks to the very crux of the issue that is being investigated by this probe, which is the extent to which these criminal cartels have allegedly infiltrated the criminal justice system. So you see a lot of these high-ranking officials at pains to distance themselves from this particular operation, distance themselves from the fact that it was the home of Katiso KT Molefe, and that may have been the reason behind why his arrest garnered this much attention. We're also hearing from Chief George earlier this morning contradicting the evidence of Captain Kruger when they questioned about the proceeding towards the home of Katiso Molefe, knowing that the operation was indeed legitimate. It seems that Chief George, who would have flown the helicopter above the residence of Katiso KT Molefe, posted a message in the group stating that the operation was legitimate prior to the arrival of the Hawks officials, who we understand came in their numbers and stayed for an hour prior to departing from that particular scene. We're hearing from him that he is saying that he got that information that the operation was legitimate by speaking on the phone with Captain Kruger. But Captain Kruger testified a few days ago when he appeared that he doesn't know where Chief George got that particular information about it being legitimate. So again, a lot of contradiction amongst the lower ranking police officials about the instruction and the request that they received. So if Mbotho, who is now one of the high ranking officials and would have been second in line towards this instruction, is stating that he did not receive a call from Mthethwa, he's stating that he got the request from General Labia, who was the Hawks head at the time, then what's left is for the Hawks head to elaborate further on where that call came from and what exactly the request was all about, with the Hawks allegedly descending on that property. But as things stand, it seems that Hawks officials seem to be all over the place regarding this evidence about what exactly they were doing at the residence of Katiso Molefe. And if it was just about an innocent verification request, why did they go beyond that particular scope, and why did they stay for at least an hour before they departed from that particular residence?
Canny, thank you so much for that. Before I let you go, very quickly, what are we likely to expect then tomorrow?
Well, with the commission nowadays, it's becoming quite difficult to learn who the next witness will be. But with Mbotho's evidence complete regarding that, it seems that there'll be a new witness on the stand tomorrow. Whether they'll be continuing with this theme of the Katiso Molefe Operation Takedown of December 2024 remains to be seen. But the commission will continue with its hearings at 9:30 a.m. tomorrow.
All right, Canny, thank you so much. Let's leave it there for now.